history, mysteries, conspiracies, and more. Right now on Thinktankden After Dark. You are listening to the Thinktankden After Dark podcast. Good evening. What's up, good people? My thinkers and truth seekers. Welcome to another episode of the Thinktankden After Dark podcast, where we delve into the enigmatic, the unexplained, and the conspiratorial. I'm your host, LELOW Def, in the building. And I'm ready to guide you through this labyrinth of hidden truths and shadowy agendas. Tonight, we explore a theory that intertwines technology and deception in the very fabric of our reality. Project Bluebeam. Some of you may be familiar with that already. It's definitely a topic I find interesting and excited to talk about it. We'll dissect its origins, the alleged plans behind it, and how it connects to the recent mysterious drone sightings across New Jersey and other areas of the world. Seems like, to me, some of the reports have kind of dwindled, almost like the media has kind of pivoted away from it. But from people I know and have spoken to who live in the area, definitely say it not much has changed, and in some areas it's actually increased. But we'll talk about it, and we'll also ponder, what a genuine alien invasion might look like. We'll kind of speculate a little bit, just have a little fun with it. But first, before we get into that, as always, please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and hit your notification bell so you'll know when we post new stuff. And I might even start doing kind of like news alerts or something like that if I hear about something that might interest you guys. And I might post things from time to time. It may not be video. It may just be just a regular post, just to kind of keep you guys informed on things. What's going on, both behind the scenes and like I said, anything that might have happened in the news. So definitely, like I said, like, subscribe, and follow on the various channels, and make sure you follow us on Instagram as well, because we post over there as well. That way you can be as connected as possible. And now we'll move on to today's topic, Project Bluebeam. So dim the lights, settle in, and let's embark on this journey into the unknown. To grasp the essence of Project Bluebeam, we must journey back to the 90s. Pretty sure some of you remember the 90s. Some of you may not. Some of y'all might want to forget them. The theory was introduced by a Canadian journalist and conspiracy researcher, Sergei Monast, Um, According to Monist, Project Bluebeam is a covert operation orchestrated by global elites, aiming to establish, a new world order. Not the first time you heard that, obviously, by fabricating a series of supernatural events. What's the ultimate goal? To dismantle existing religions and pave the way for a singular, unified belief system under authoritarian control. Monast outlined what he considered to be a 4-step process to this. Step one, the fabrication of archaeological discoveries to discredit established religious doctrines. This involves creating artificial earthquakes at precise locations, leading to the discovery of artifacts that challenge traditional religious beliefs. Step two, he continues, the project of holographic images across the sky tailored to the predominant religious faiths of different religions. These images would represent the deity or deities of each area, speaking in all languages, culminating in a singular universal God. Step three, the use of advanced technology to transmit thoughts directly into individuals' minds, making them believe they are receiving divine communication. This telepathic communication would convince people that their God is speaking to them, guiding them towards the new world religion. And we actually have technology that harkens to this. So that's actually not that far fetched. You'd be surprised at how many patents there are out there for the stuff that we would consider to be fringe science or extraordinary, but they're legit, patents that some of these people hold. Many by obviously the government and certain organizations privately. But you'd be surprised. You should look into it from time to time and do your own research on that. But it's actually not that hard to find if you willing to take the time to dig through it. But there's some homework for you anyway. And we may do a show on that down the line because it actually is really, really interesting. Let me know what you think down below. Anyway, step 4 in Monast process, the manifestation of supernatural phenomena using electronic means, including the simulation of an alien invasion. This would create global chaos, leading to populations to accept the authority of a new world government for the sake of security and order. And that's also not that far fetched. We've seen that in history more than once, where something happens or is made to happen, and everyone gets scared, and then they just follow whatever is presented as the remedy for that. And if that means giving up your freedoms, etc., then you do that because you're in fear, right? Now, Monast revelations were obviously met with skepticism, which skepticism is actually healthy. You should go in with an open mind, but still stay a little skeptical to things. But that labeled it got labeled as a conspiracy theory, obviously. Um, Tragically, though, he often we see this. Tragically, he died under mysterious circumstances in 1996, which some believe adds credence to his claims. Project Bluebeam's themes have permeated popular culture, often blurring the lines between fiction and potential reality. Um, Actually, let's explore some of those notable examples. Um, One series that I absolutely loved back in the day, and I'm sure many of you did as well, is the X Files series with Michael Duchovny, I believe. Um, that was a really great series. That this iconic series delved into government conspiracies and extraterrestrial encounters. Echoing elements of Project Bluebeam. The show's narrative, often revolved around the manipulation of public perception and the fabrication of alien threats to achieve hidden agendas. If you haven't seen that series, you should definitely go back and check it out. It's a series from the '90s, but it's extremely well done series, and I would definitely say anyone who hasn't seen it, that's one of those shows to go back and take a look at it and definitely binge watch it, and you'll see a lot of the things in there that when you look at what's going on now, it'll probably spook you a little bit, but it's worth the time to go back and watch it. Another another one was called Wag the Dog. I believe it came out in '97. Um, and it was more political satire, but it was a little spin on the doctor and Hollywood producer fabricated war to distract the public from a presidential scandal. While not about supernatural events, it underscores the power of media manipulation. I mean, a core aspect of Project Bluebeam. And I think we can all say at this point, or at least many of us, we definitely understand how powerful um, the media can be. A more modern or up to date movie, which also I'm a big fan of because I'm a comic book kid. I'm big into comics and Marvel and DC and stuff like that. Star Wars, all that. I'm that guy. Anyway, Spider-Man: Far From Home. I don't know how many people paid attention to that movie, but the main antagonist, Mysterio, uses advanced holographic technology to create the illusion of catastrophic events, deceiving the public and positioning himself as some type of hero when he was actually the villain. And honestly, this mirrors the holographic narrative of deception in what's accounted to be the Project Bluebeam. You know, and it kind of harkens back to the idea of predictive programming, right? When they put these things out in movies and TV shows, and the popular mind out there, people kind of get uh, desensitized to some things, or they get kind of prepared for things. A lot of that stuff, to me, in my opinion, is not accidental. These movies and programs and everything are usually decided on and prepared years in advance, so people have plenty of time to figure out what they're gonna do, what they're going to say and have a basic idea of what reaction it's going to have, or what people's reaction is going to be to it, and what influence it might have. So that's, again, that's just um, my opinion on that. Anyway, these cultural references, while fictional, reflect societal concerns about deception, media manipulation, and the potential for technology to fabricate reality. I mean, we've seen that plenty of times in history, which has been documented well with false flags that many nations, including our own, um, have perpetrated for monetary or political gain. That's it's not a new concept. I think they're just finding a new way um, to bring it into the next century or whatnot. Um, but for you guys who are history buffs, many of you are familiar with that. For those of you who are not, do your history. You be absolutely blown away by how many of these historical events and wars and stuff that took place, and you go back and look at how they actually started, and find out that it wasn't what it was originally said to be. Of course, we find out 100 years later, etc., and then it's like, oh, that's not what the news headlines said at the time. Because I mean, when it comes to history, time is undefeated. You know, uh, Enough time goes by and things start to kind of leak out. So it's things that were once secret, get declassified, and then we find out things weren't exactly what they were said to be. So um, definitely do your history and looking at things for yourself. Don't just let talking heads like me tell you what's what, right? Um, Now, in recent months, um, mysterious drone sightings have been reported across New Jersey and other parts of the United States, and some, all over the world actually. And they're, describing some of the same stuff. These orbs, and um, they call them what, plasma or plasmoids. And they're kind of giving all the same description. The way they, the color, the way they look, the way they move. And it'd be one thing if it was isolated, but when you pretty much have the same kind of descriptions going on globally, you know, and like I said, I think in another earlier episode, it reminds me of the UFO flap of the 50s, where it was kind of hard to just dismiss it, and I think we're kind of going through that over again, but history repeats itself, right? Um, Witnesses describe large drones flying in deliberate formations, often near sensitive areas. Some have been seen over like military bases and things like that, which I don't know how that's not a big deal all in itself. Um, I remember trying to get family and friends on bases sometimes, and the simplest little things would cause things to go crazy or things to get shut down, and meanwhile drones just flying around, and it's like, whatever. It's crazy, crazy. Um, but I mean, even the president-elect Donald Trump has made numerous remarks regarding the drones, and even saying that on day one of him being sworn into office, he will release a report and basically tell the American people uh, what the government knows about the drones. In his move to be more transparent. So crazy. 2025 is already turning out to be an interesting year. Uh, I mean, who knows? We might actually get aliens before GTA 6. uh, but all my gamer heads out there bugging right now. um, but some conspiracy theorists link these sightings to Project Bluebeam, suggesting that they are preliminary tests for the larger deception. You know, getting us prepared. The idea is that these drones could be used to help project holographic images or conduct surveillance in preparation for the staged events that um, Monash described. Notably, the New York Post reported on December 16th of last year that these drone sightings have reignited interest in the Project Bluebeam, with some individuals believing that the global elites are orchestrating these events to instill fear and control, the populace. Um, however, authorities, including the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, are investigating these drone activities. Um, as of now, there's no definitive explanations, have been provided, but leaving room for speculation and conspiracy theories to flourish, which is, why we are where we are, right? But maybe we'll learn something after Trump gets in office. We'll see, if he sticks to his word. I kind of want to move into a different thought process for a second here. Um, let's say, what would what would really happen in an alien invasion? Let's kind of what if this for a second. If you followed any of my channels or previous episodes, I'm a what if fan, from way back when it was just books before the Disney shows and stuff like that. Um, let's what if this a little bit. What would an alien invasion look like in reality, and how we react to it, right? Shifting our focus from the fabricated invasions to potential real ones. We're out there sending out probes, we're sending out signals out into space. We're sending messages. If there's someone out there and they could potentially be hostile, I mean, we flagged them down and said, "Hey, come over here. We're right for the picking." That's a real thing that could happen. That's a real threat, right? Assuming that life is out there, it doesn't necessarily mean that life is out there is nice. You know, just like here on Earth, where you have some people who are good, you got some people who are bad, and it might be the same thing out in the universe. When we flag them down and we think they're coming here to, present the proverbial olive branch, and they're actually here to take the whole tree. you know. And if I remember correctly, Stephen Hawkins, that was one of the things he was concerned about with us doing things like SETI, etc. So something to think about. But when you look at science fiction, it's long explored this scenario, offering various interpretations of what that could look like. One of the most famous ones, which actually I'm a fan of, is War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. Now, the original version that came out in, I want to say, 1890s, right? I want to say about 1898, somewhere around there. Now, I mean, that classic novel depicts Martians, invading Earth with advanced technology, causing widespread destruction before succumbing to some type of Earth's bacteria, um, which again it highlights humanity's vulnerability and the potential for unforeseen factors to influence the outcome of the invasion. It's not like in that story we actually beat them, um, you know, mano a mano. We just got literally lucky in that scenario, which is scary when you think about it. Which I think that's kind of what made that book or that story become as popular as it did. Moving into more of the modern era, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys love this movie as well. I was a big fan of it as well. Is Independence Day? I believe that one had with Will Smith. That came out in the '90s. I want to say '96. In that film, massive alien ships, strategically position themselves over, major cities and deploying, devastating attacks. It's very, very strategically done. But of course, in that one, humanity unites to combat the threat of the extraterrestrial threat, emphasizing global cooperation, in the face of annihilation. It kind of reminds me of that famous speech that Ronald Reagan did, where he talked about, how fast our differences would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from the outside outside of Earth. And of course, many people think that he was trying to say something cryptically, and but we'll save that for another day. Another movie, The Day the Earth Stood Still. That's another good one. I think there's like two or three versions of that though. You have the original one, I think, that came out in the 50s, and then you have the one that some of the younger crowd is probably familiar with, that was starring Keanu Reeves, which they actually did a really good job of bringing that movie into the modern era. I was pretty impressed by it. But the basics of it is an alien visitor uh, arrives with a warning, advocating for peace but demonstrating the capacity for destruction. Walk soft, carry a big stick kind of thing. This narrative explores the possibility of aliens intervening to prevent humanity's self-destruction. You know, and some of you who follow the ufology know that that's a common theme that many contactees and etc. talk about, where they say that these other entities intervene to keep us safe. They, especially anytime we start talking about a uh, nuclear threat. They show up at nuclear bases and show up around nuclear tests, things like that. So it could be something to that. Now, in reality, an alien invasion's nature would depend on the extraterrestrials' intention, right? And their technology and their biology. So there's a lot of factors to take into account. Um, would they be hostile conquerors? Benevolent observers? Kind of like the Watcher on What If, or something beyond, or something we can't even comprehend. You know, uh, the vastness of possibilities makes this. This is one of the reasons why I like this topic so much, and I'm pretty sure many of you do too. Um, but that's a real world threat. A lot of people may not think so, but even the governments of the world have contingencies for this. A lot of the veterans out there, like myself, definitely know that they have contingencies for things like this. Many of us are or have been required to sit through training that mention things like this. Um, I won't go into any type of detail related to it, but I can tell you that they definitely have things written um, for this. Now, that doesn't mean that they know for certain that these things are out there. But one thing's for certain is, especially once we started, having a space program and whatnot, and venturing out into space, they definitely thought about it to the point that they had to write rules, regulations, contingencies, etc., in case there was something to worry about, you know. But you take that how you will. Um, let's delve a little deeper into the uh, phenomena of the plasma UAPs that everyone's talking about. Well, of course, they're trying to just call them drones, um, which I think that's very deliberate all in itself. But these drones, which seems to be cropping up in reports worldwide, these sightings have been gaining traction, not only among amateur sky watchers, but also within military and scientific communities. One of the most famous modern cases occurred in, I believe July 2021, um, when a U.S. Navy pilot reported encountering a series of luminous orbs over the Pacific Ocean. These objects, described as moving at hypersonic speeds and changing direction instantaneously, defied any known aircraft design or physics principles. The Pentagon's UAP report that came out in 2021 included several such cases, many involving objects with plasma-like appearances. Plasma UAPs are often characterized by a glowing or amorphous shapes that seem to radiate energy. I've even heard some people describe it as looking like liquid light. Um, some researchers speculate that these are not, actual solid objects at all, but rather some type of energy phenomena created by natural processes, such as ball lightning or advanced technology, um, potentially, of course, extraterrestrial or military. And I've actually seen ball lightning when I was a kid one time, and up close and personal, and it'll throw you. The first time that I saw it, I you couldn't tell me I hadn't seen an angel or something. And then, of course, later on in life, I found out, or later I found out, what it was, um, and then as they described ball lightning, I went, okay, that's clearly what I saw, and it did happen during a lightning storm. So I'm pretty sure that's what I saw was ball lightning, at least in that incident. I've seen other things, but I might save that for another time, another day when we on a different topic. But it's definitely something freaky to see. Ball lightning is pretty crazy. But when you think about these you know, plasmoid type objects, When someone was once describing it to me, he said, if you've seen the movie um, with where they go through the Stargate, I think, yeah, that's the name of it. The movie was called Stargate. And he said when they went through the Stargate, how it looked like water. He said that's kind of like what it looked like when this one individual was describing to me what he saw um, when he was in the military. So, there may be something to that when you have so many people kind of describing the same stuff. Um, now, let's pivot back to the mysterious drone sightings in New Jersey, and other regions. Eyewitnesses describe formations of drones, behaving in a highly coordinated manner, unlike under intelligent design or control. And they're often flying at altitudes and speeds that push the boundaries of, commercial consumer grade technology. Um, when you look at some of the stuff you can buy on, say, Amazon or in Walmart or something like that, these things that are flying around are not that. The way they move. My kids play with drones that are like that, and this is not even close. There's a distinct difference. Now, in December of 2024, not too long ago, a particular intriguing event occurred. And I don't know if you guys saw this or not or heard about it, but it was when a fleet of the glowing drones, as they described them, the ones that look like the plasma or whatnot, was spotted over the Meadowlands. Local authorities initially dismissed them as part of a private light show, but investigators found no permits issued for such an event, which this led to the speculation that these were, tests conducted either by an unidentified agency or a private organization. Now, some believe these drones are reconnaissance vehicles for foreign powers, right? Some of our enemies, testing the vulnerabilities of U.S. airspace. Others see them as precursors to more significant phenomena tied to Project Bluebeam, acting as a technological dry run for, possible future aerial projections, etc. Interestingly, a report from The Guardian in December of 2024 noted similar sightings in Scotland, South Africa, Australia, all within the same week of each other. Now could this point to a global coordinated effort involving experimental drone technology? Or are we witnessing something far more mysterious? Now, a small but growing community of researchers believes these drones might not be human made at all. Plasma UAPs could represent an entirely new class of non human intelligence, testing or interacting with Earth's ecosystems, or perhaps even our own technology. As speculative as that sounds, the recent emergence of classified Pentagon videos, such as the now infamous Go Fast and gimbal footage, lends some weight to these claims. Uh, these objects or phenomena operate with a level of intelligence and purpose to them that, of course, remains unexplained, at least to the general public at this time. Now the question becomes, are these sightings connected to something as clandestine as Project Bluebeam? You know, even the gimbal videos and stuff may have been related to that, and they were conducting something on their own military to see how they would react or how effective it would be, right? We know governments of the world test things on their own military all the time, unbeknownst to them. So that's not something coming out of left field by any means. That's been documented for decades that those tactics have been used. So I mean that's something to think about. Are we being conditioned to accept the presence of these objects, um, paving the way for a larger event? There's some people I've spoken with who believe that this is all in preparation for some big reveal, and they want to get us, prepared by having us desensitized to the idea of entities being around us on a regular basis. I don't know how many of you remember the movie or even a show that came after that, I believe, called Alien Nation, where a alien species came to Earth as refugees, and they had to become acclimated and interwoven into human society, where they had jobs, they had lives, families, etc., living right amongst humans on a daily basis. The main characters of the show are cops. One's an alien and one is a human cop, where they work together and they intertwine their lives and their families and things like that. Was that show even set up for that purpose, to kind of get us used to the idea of being amongst another species, right? Just something to think about. I actually did like that show back in the day. That was a really good show. And I'm pretty sure you can probably find it easily now. It's an old show from like, I want to believe, late 80s, early 90s. Go check it out. Alien Nation. I believe there was a movie and an actual TV series. But definitely check it out. But there's a lot of things in this world that you know could be 100% natural. Um, some things could be legit, as in um, explainable in some type of scientific way, and some of these things could be fabricated to look a certain way. The Project Bluebeam could be a legit tactic being used to, drive society into a certain direction. When you look at how much the world has changed just in the last, 5 years or so, how different things are, and the things that it took to get us that way. It wasn't something that just happened naturally. It was, per se, but it was, events that, forced us to think other ways or implement new systems, etc. And then, everything changes. And then that becomes the change that we were uncomfortable with, becomes the new norm, right? I mean, the human species as a whole has proven time and time again that we're adaptable, right? In the beginning, it always sucks, right? It's turmoil, death, destruction, fire, brimstone, etc. However, once the dust settles, we tend to find a way to make it all make sense, and or survive it and make changes and adapt to it. And in many cases, prepare just in case it happens again, right? That's just the spirit of the human species, our capacity to adapt and overcome, as we say in the military, right? All right, let's do a quick recap. We've explored the shadowy depths of Project Bluebeam, a theory that challenges our understanding of truth, reality, and global power. We've pondered the possibilities of a real alien invasion, using pop culture to kind of help frame the unimaginable. And finally, we've examined the recent wave of plasma, UAP, and drone sightings. Just trying to piece together a puzzle, you know, and maybe find new hidden pieces one day. Now, are we on the brink of an engineered deception meant to control us? Or are we inching closer to first contact with something otherworldly? The answer remains elusive, but the questions keep us sharp. And as the late Carl Sagan once said, the universe is a pretty big place if it's just us, and it seems like an awful waste of space. Whether the phenomenon we're seeing is human, alien, or a mix of both, one thing is clear. We are definitely living in extraordinary times. I want to thank you for joining me on this thought provoking expedition. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, please subscribe, like, share, and leave your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think. I want to hear about your, strange stories, etc., and any ideas you have for the show. I want to make this a community. So please feel free to reach out, and I'll respond to everyone that I can. I'd love to hear your theories, about some of the things that we talk about, even if it's something from a different show. That's fine. Reach out, and if you've seen something, reach out and send it to me. I'll have an email that I'll put up for people to send me things if they'd like to. So let me know what's going on out there in the world. I can't be everywhere. I rely a lot on other people to kind of guide me sometimes to some of these things that are going on in the world. But I've enjoyed this. Once again, like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and you can reach out to me also on Facebook. I have my personal channels on there related to my music. And by all means, if you ever get bored and just want to check it out, I'm on all major platforms and I'm LELOW Deaf. Check it out. And I hope you enjoy. But until next time, keep your eyes on the skies, your mind open, the lights down low. Stay curious, stay skeptical, but open-minded. Do the research, figure it out for yourself. I've been your host tonight, LELOW Deaf. And on that note, we out. You are listening to the Thinktankden After Dark podcast.